last count I saw, you've been to about 86 countries, but you made a very special trip in April. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. It's funny. Teresa and I have been married, my wife, 45 years. We're really close, very close. And the only reason I mention that, our granddaughter Reagan was home. She went to lunch with Reagan, came back 2 hours later, and I'd booked a trip to Romania. And she was like, WT.
This is radio now, not podcast.
This is radio. And she like, oh my God, should have talked to me. Well, it'd been on my heart and head to go over there, seeing what people were doing with their pets and seeing the trauma to pets. I just felt called to do it. Plus, tickets were getting very scarce. So, about a week later, I flew over there for 10 days, and I flew into Romania, which is a bordering country where most of the pets were going into Moldova, Poland, and Romania. And I don't have a special technical gift where I could do a surgery nobody else could do or diagnose something. But what I was able to do was I first met with the head of the Romanian Veterinary Medical Association. How has this strained your system of veterinarians? What can we do to help you? And then arranged to talk to veterinary schools about fear-free, because they were seeing a lot of dog bites, a lot of injuries at the borders. And so much of that is related to fear-based aggression. So I knew through fear-free we could help them with animal handling. But long after I'm gone, these students and faculty that are volunteering could help. And then Ukraine's not a rabies-free country. So when they bring in these dogs,
are you kidding? It isn't?
Not.
Oh my gosh.
So they have to quarantine. How do you quarantine 700 dogs?
Yeah.
So I was looking at the infrastructure, how do we help you do that? But then I went to the border too. And I've never been to a war border before, didn't know what to expect. You get there, and remember, somehow I always thought it was the Blue Danube. I don't know why. Maybe there was a song. Really? Or I've been watching those Viking cruises or something. This was the brown.
This is not a cruise destination.
This was the brown Danube that I saw.
Yeah,
and the ferry bringing people over across from Ukraine over to Romania. There's a lot of NGOs. Red Cross is there, UNICEF is there, World Vision is there. And then a lot of individual people locally, but there's a veterinary tent there. They called it the blue tent group because everything was the light coming in made everybody look blue.
Well, good thing you weren't the Blue Man Group. I don't know. You'd be.
I'll tell you, Arden, it was life changing. You and I have known each other for decades. Our pets are family. Your listeners' pets are family. My clients' pets are family. But you always joke about what would you do, like, for safety cat, right? What would you actually do in an emergency if your life was at risk? And over there, I'll give you some examples of what I saw. I saw a guy.
Yeah, let's get one example because we got about a couple minutes before the break because I want to do that. So give me something you saw.
Okay, I'll tell you a guy that his city was being bombed. His apartment was being hit. He threw himself over his two elderly cats. And to protect them, he took shrapnel on his back, and he's about probably late 60s. He was pretty beat up, came off the ferry in a wheelchair, and he started crying. And he started crying because his cats were safe. And I met another
tears of gratitude, right?
Gratitude. And I can tell this quickly. I met another lady that had 10 Jack Russell Terriers, and she was a breeder. Her grandfather bred dogs. Her father bred dogs. She now bred dogs. She had 2 Jack Russells in each hand on a leash. She had 6 strapped on her like baby Bjorns. I've never seen anything like it in my life. Like, you can just imagine her with these
and
things.
They're terriers. They have ideas of what to do when.
And she was pulling a wagon with a rope. In the wagon was food and water and medicine for the dogs. She was afraid she was going to get ostracized or judged because she had 10 dogs. Guess what, Arden?
What?
She'd been walking for 10 days straight. She had nothing for herself. She had not eaten. She drank water, but she had not eaten, and she had no shoes. Her feet were horrifically frostbitten. I looked like John Dutton from Yellowstone. I was 3 layered up and a guy from Northern Idaho freezing to death. And she had no shoes, but she was so thankful. I think she's probably going to lose some toes.
But this is the power of the paw. Everyone, we're talking with Dr. Marty Becker, America's veterinarian. He just came back from the Ukraine border. We're going to take a quick break and continue this talk with Dr. Marty. So sit, stay. We're going to be right back. Welcome back, everyone. I'm your host, Arden Moore. We're talking with Dr. Marty Becker. He's just shared 2 tales from the Ukraine border. And I know, Marty, you've been all over the world. You've done a lot to help pets here in the United States and beyond. And I don't think you were ever in the military, right?
No, never was.
So this
No.
has to be kind of, I mean, there was something inside you that said, I need to go. I need to do something, right? And I think, can you share that passion that I think a lot of us are feeling? How can we help? Every little bit helps.
I can tell you. I'll tell you 2 things that spurred me to book that appointment and take or that plane reservation and take my wife's wrath when she came home.
Your wife's raft. What did you say? I thought you said raft.
Wrath, because she was worried about me because I could have gone into Ukraine literally. But the border was so unusual, I might not have got back for 6 hours, and I needed to go to this veterinary school to teach. But I will tell you exactly what it was.
Okay.
I saw the story online of that lady that had an elderly German Shepherd that couldn't walk, and she packed that thing for 10 miles on her back. Listen, I've got Cutie Pie in the chair next to me. I pack him from the sofa to the Serta mattress every night. That's about 20 paces. And that's my son. And I thought, my God, you remember when Katrina happened? And that was the first time really when people would not leave without their pets. So the Red Cross and FEMA changed it to where you could evacuate pets at the same time. And I thought, okay, I've got to go because there's connections I have and the ability on a bigger level to help the people on the ground. Because long after I'm gone, these people are going to be there taking care of these pets. And right now, you know, they're bombing Odessa in this war. And that's kind of that southern entry there off the Danube and the Black Sea. And you remember also the lady that went to feed the dogs in the shelter and was killed. Yes. That was the other thing. The dogs had no food or water, and she was going to try to give them food and water and was killed. And I thought, okay, I've got to go. And you know, we did a study one time on noise phobias. So I think most of your listeners are going to know what dogs feel like, and fireworks, thunderstorms, hunting season, if it's in your area where you have those kind of noise phobias. Imagine artillery and bombing hitting your town, your neighborhood, and then you're fleeing. You've got all these dogs and cats in a subway. You've got them in a train car. You've got them in cars with multiple people. And it's the most stressful situation you can possibly think of. And these people over there, you won't even believe this. Before I go to any country, I always look at their currency, if they have a dominant religion, what their per capita income is. United States per capita income is the largest of any industrialized country at $63,000. Romania, $6,000.
Oh, man.
Moldova, $4,000 per year. And gasoline was $10 a gallon.
Oh, you're kidding.
No, I gassed up the van of a shelter called Save Safe Haven. If your listeners want to support something.
It's SAVA, right?
Yes. Yeah. SaveASafeHaven.com. They have 300 dogs there. If somebody comes from Ukraine and they're going to stay with a sister in London, they board their dogs free of charge. If somebody can find a home, but they don't take the pets, or they only take one pet, not 2, they board them free of charge. It's a non-governmental, non-profit, family-run shelter. I gassed their vehicle up like a Sprinter van, and about that size, 50-gallon tank. It was $527.
That's a lot of kibble, Dr. Marty.
Yeah, so just think about that. We complain. That's at $6,000 per capita income, but they were giving of themselves ardent to the thing that would just make you. You wouldn't believe it. A lot of the local people had made sandwiches. So these people come off the ferry from Ukraine, some walking, the guy in the wheelchair, the lady with the 10 dogs. There's these cars lined up to go through customs, and people are walking along with water, with wet wipes, with coffee, with cocoa. And then there was trays of sandwiches. And honest to God, I saw something I'll never see again in my lifetime. They started limiting the number of dogs you could bring in to 5 per person.
Oh, come on.
There was a medium-sized car. So let's say you go to the airport. You're flying in with with your safety dog and safety cat, and you
Kona
get a
and
medium-sized
Casey.
car. Yeah.
Mhm.
There was 5 people and 25 dogs in one car.
Oh my gosh.
It was a canine clown car. I have never seen anything like it because each could bring 5. So there was
There you
25
go.
dogs and 5 people. And they came by with the sandwiches. And the dogs all went to one side. You could actually see the car move and kind of lean to one side.
They led by their nose.
And the first dog reached out and he grabbed him a whole snout full of sandwiches. He kind of lunged out there. And it was one of those moments that
so
I'll
hungry.
never forget. Yeah, hungry.
Wow. You know, we're wrapping it up with Dr. Marty. He did go to the Ukraine border. He did do his good deed. I read somewhere that you packed suitcases, but you weren't bringing wardrobe. I think you had a little bag of clothes, a few bags, a little changes of underwear. But what did you bring that was the biggest thing?
I don't even want to talk about hygiene because I went rogue. I'm telling you, I went the least I've ever. I took 4 suitcases full of dog toys.
Oh,
that's all we had. And I'm going to go back. There's a real need. Most of those pets have parasites.
Okay.
And they're having trouble getting medications and things. But one of the things too I should mention, I'm on the board of World Vets.
Okay, good. Thank you.
WorldVets.org. That's the place that now, today, tomorrow, next year, a decade from now, World Vets will be responding, whether it's a hurricane in the United States or spay-neuter programs in Mexico or things like this. It's a really good place to donate to. And that Save as Safe Haven is one place they've worked with in the past. And then there's a veterinary clinic in Moldova. Listen to this, Arden. The whole country of Moldova, there's only one veterinary practice that has an x-ray machine.
One?
That's how far behind it is. It's a third world country when it comes to veterinary care. There's always a silver lining, I think, to things, and it's going to take a long time for we can help. We're doing crisis care for Ukrainian pets. Someday we'll rebuild it, but Romania and Poland and Moldova, those of us that want to help can help them bring their infrastructure up to a more modern era, and a lot of pets and people will benefit from that.
Thanks so much for making our tails wag by watching this guest interview from Arden Moore's Four-Legged Life. Four-Legged Life. Make sure to subscribe so you're up to date with all of our Four-Legged Life content. Four-Legged Life. Four-Legged Life.